Leaves peach ovate with slightly wavy margins. Try horse purslane. Toston. Try and hem. Sven. Gooseweed. Only one essence. Gooseweed. Native countries, a principal weed in lowland rye. Seed on can flower 35 dias after emerging. So bulrush. Bawang bawang. Bulrush. Fruit is and 2 to 2.5 millimeters wide. Leaves to 10 millimeters wide. In one season, 1 year. Pressed flat against. Angle between a branch of a leaf and the axis from axil. A rise. Axillary. Root. Brace root. Of a flower or flower heads. Unit structure of a compound pistil. Fruit is capsule. Seeds. Horse purslane. Brown to black, kidney-shaped and rough. Leaves petiolate. With slightly wavy margins. Trianthema portulacastris. Purslane. Toston. A Portulacastra Meltagalog name. The GAERTN. Only 1 to 2 flowers open at one time. Gooseweed. In 17 countries, a principal weed in low. Gooseweed. Seedlings and can flower 35 dias after emerge. One seeded fruit formed from a simple carpel. Having a sharp or abrupt point. Applied to structures that, such as roots growing out of stems. Time or period required for the after ripening. Season 1 year. flat against, between a branch of a leaf and the axis from which it arises. Arising at the axis. Root arising from. Brace root. Flower or flower heads. Unit structure of a compound pistil. Fruit is capsule with un and horse purslane. To black, kidney-shaped and rough. Leaves petiolate, opposite in wavy margins. Trianthema portulacastrum L. Toston. Astrum L Tagalog name. EERTN. 1 to 2 flowers open at one time in an inflorescence. Native of countries, a principal weed in lowland rye. Seedlings grow rapidly 35 dias after emergence. Serpus maritimus L. Bawang bawang. Fruit is obovate and 2 to 2.5 mm wide. Leaves narrow, long, wide. Bullrye. Acuminate. Fruit formed from a simple carpel, having a sharp or abrupt point. Applied to structures that arise from growing out of stems. Time or period required for the embryo to after ripening. 1 year. Annual. Enst. Oppressed. The branch of a leaf and the axis from which it arises. Arising at the axil. Root arising from a node. Brace root. Ridge or flower heads. Unit structure of a compound pistil. Fruit is capsule with un and tip and horse purslane. Shaped and rough. Leaves petiolate, opposite in unequal wavy margins. Trianthema portulacastrum L. Toston. Tagalog name. ATN. Gooseweed. 2 flowers open at one time in an inflorescence. Native of tropical trees, a principal weed in lowland rice. Seedlings grow rapidly in 2 to 25 dias after emergence. Serpus maritimus L. Bawang bawang. Fruit is obovate acan. 2 to 2.5 millimeters wide. Having a sharp or abrupt point. Applied to structures that arise from an unusual part of stems. Advent or period required for the embryo to completely mature. Complete. Annual. Oppressed. Leaf and the axis from which it arises. Arising at the axil. Root arising from a node above the ground. Root. Reduced or modified. Heads. Bract. Structure of a compound pistil. Fruit is capsule with an ad-tip and contains horse purslane and rough. Horse leaves petiolate opposite in unequal pairs over horse purslane. Portulaca Mel. Toston. Name. Sphenically. Gooseweed. Open at one time in an inflorescence. Native of tropical Africa. A weed in lowland rice. Seedlings grow rapidly in 2 to 4 weeks after emergence. Serpent.